Welcome to the Spirit of a Badass, where we celebrate stories of courage, hope, and resiliency. I'm your host, Alecia Jacobson.
Hello, my badasses. Welcome to today's show. I just got back from boxing class. You watched the reels. I'm kind of greasy. Well, I'm greasy because, one, I don't wash my hair every day, but I also use like self-tanning oil and I put it on my face like the day I have to wash my hair because it makes my hair all greasy. So I'm a little extra greasy, but I don't mind like my paleness sometimes, but just the winter, it makes me feel just a little bit better. So anyway, I did that this morning and I had boxing class and there was some rap song on about not having any regrets. And it like hit me. And then on the way home, I called my best friend and I was talking to her and she's like, "How are you?" And I realized it was the first time in a long time that I'm like, good. And actually started listing off all of the things that were going well. And it really just set me into this kind of overwhelming feeling of gratitude for the things that are going well. Not everything is going well, obviously, like as tis life. But there are so many things that are going really well, kind of in my sphere of life. My son's car broke down, I don't know, a month and a half ago, and he finally got it back yesterday. And it was way less than we were expecting. Like, this was a big point of stress, and it stirs up in me this frustration because I essentially have to do all of these things on my own for him, and I didn't. So that felt like quite a blessing that I had people like, "Hey, I know this mechanic," were very helpful. And it was actually our life is a little bit complicated, but his dad's second ex-wife, I guess her husband, was just really helpful with it because our dealership was wanting to charge like way more than the car was even worth anymore. So I just felt really grateful for that. And he has his car, which a 17-year-old not having their own transportation and me having to share my car with him was a little bit challenging. So that was going well. He also got a snowboard helmet and needed to return it. And he had to email them because he couldn't figure out how to return it. They're just sending him the new size that he needs. And they said, just pass it on to somebody that needs it. And I told him, like, this is a big, like, today we got your car back. You got this like helmet gifted to you and you can pass it on to somebody else who needs it. Like, things are going really, really well. Just, I feel kind of an overwhelming just gratitude for life right now. So that is where I'm at. And then I was in boxing class and there was this song on, something about not having regrets. And it made me think of death because I'm a little morbid that way. But one of the things that I like say is we're all going to die. We don't have this time here forever. And I think sometimes we get so in the weeds on just the details or the anxiety or the stress that we kind of forget the bigger picture of, like, we get one round and what do we want to do with it? How do you want to be? How do you want to be remembered? What do you want to leave? What's the imprint that you want to have? And like, the day-to-day shit just doesn't matter. That is one thing I feel like I don't have a whole lot of regrets. There's a few things that I regret, but for the most part, I don't have a whole lot of regrets. Now, there's a whole lot of things that I want to do and I want to do with my time. And maybe I don't have time just yet because, life happens. But I know when I'm working with people and they're kind of mulling over what should I do? And it feels very big. It feels very life altering. And sometimes it is, but just remembering that, like, zoom out to the bigger picture and what's really important. And to that also, I feel like when you are sort of pressed with these bigger decisions, there is a piece inside of you that actually really knows. And sometimes you're afraid to do it and to follow your kind of gut feeling. I think it was actually in a book I was reading, And it said, when you ask somebody for advice, what is it that you're hoping that they'll tell you? And that is that sort of inner voice of yourself. And I thought that was a really important thing, because if you are a person that asks other people for advice often, what are you hoping that they're going to tell you? And if you have that answer, I think you have your answer. That could be your inner knowing, and you can use that to your advantage, especially if you don't have people to ask for advice, but you're like hoping somebody will tell you, like give you almost permission to go do the thing. But go do the thing. Whatever your thing is, go do it. Go experience, go create. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm feeling just this like overwhelming excitement and sort of like zest for life right now, which I think probably in contrast, because for the last 6 months I've shared on here, my husband got a new role. Our family sort of was, my life at least was like tilted sideways of like, the fuck am I going to handle all this? I mean, there's a lot of things that go into running this life smoothly. And then when you fully remove a human from that 3 days a week, fucking lot. And I didn't know how I was gonna do it. Somebody said something yesterday, like, well, we just have to. And it wasn't in a negative way. It was sort of like in this empowering way of like, of course we'll figure it out. We might not know the answer yet, but of course we'll figure it out. And I feel like that's where I have arrived now, is this sort of course I'll figure it out. And it feels like life almost was tilted a little bit sideways, and now I'm popping back up to the like, oh, maybe it was tilted sideways and underwater and I was sort of drowning a little bit, and now it's like back up and I am breathing and I'm maybe floating on a nice little raft and I'm enjoying it with a fancy umbrella drink or something in my hand. But that is how it feels right now. It just feels very, very good. And this is something just which I talked about in the episode where I talked about the essence of being a badass. And we go through these, cycles where things will be hard. There will be things in life that are hard, and you have to deal with it, and you can deal with it. You have what it takes to handle it, or you will find the people, the knowledge, whatever it is that you need to do to figure it out, you will figure it out. And then afterwards, you get to sit kind of in the space where I like hit me today when my friend said, "How are you?" And I'm like, really good, really good. Like things are actually really good. And then be in this space. Like I'm going to hang on to this, because think of how when the negative things, kind of how obsessive we can get with it, and how it probably keeps you up at night and you wake up thinking about it. And it's like occupies so much brain space. And then when things are really good, like how much brain space does that occupy? Probably not much, but like sit down and be in this space of gratitude, because it is so important to reflect on this and hang on to the fact that you completed it, you did it, you figured it out, and kind of putting that like feather in your cap of, yeah, I did that. Especially if maybe there's like a confidence issue, or maybe it was really hard for you. Whatever the circumstances, being in that space of gratitude and looking at what you have done will serve you so well, and like kind of collect those gold coins on it and store them up, because life is going to happen again. And that resiliency muscle is something that is super important to flex and to work on, and then to pay attention to. If you just dismiss it, then it's almost like if you don't wear your watch for your workout, like, did it actually happen? I have my Aura ring that I wear for my workouts. I wear it all the time. But if you just dismiss and you don't kind of pay attention to the things that you have accomplished or done or overcome or whatever it is, if you dismiss it, you're not getting the benefit and the reward from it that sort of builds up that muscle that you're flexing. So that is all I have for you today, is to just be in gratitude. Notice the things that are going well. Notice the things that you have overcome. Don't just rush past them. Like actually be in it and see it. Maybe write it down would be helpful. I know I've been doing a little bit more kind of writing out my goals and stuff in the morning to refocus my brain a little bit, but writing down the things that you have accomplished, and it doesn't have to be big. And then like I don't know, the whole no regrets thing. I feel like this is like a hodgepodge episode, but go do the thing. Like, go just be in the goodness and create more of it, whatever that means for you, because life is short. And this coming from a person who has like the death anxiety, I feel like I'm ultra qualified to say this, but just go experience and then be in the experience. On last week's episode, I talked about, kind of how you can slow down time by being present. And the presence of the moment overwhelmingly hit me when I was able to say like, oh yeah, we're doing well. So I hope that you are doing well. I hope that this hits you where you need it to hit you, and that you can kind of look at the goodness that is happening. And I know there are still things that you're going to have to deal with in life. Like, they can be big things that are like kind of crushing, but there's also so much goodness, and there's so much goodness on the way coming for you. And you have the tools to handle it. You can figure out the tools to handle it. And you've got this. You've got this life, and go live the damn thing. All right. Thank you. I will see you next time. Oh, I wanted to share too. I was reminded this week in my women's circle that they were talking about their one word for next year. So I will be kind of sharing more about that next time, and how you can get in my one word group, and I'll share about the book and kind of what it is and things like that. And we will do a January one word group. All right. I will see you next week.
Spirit of a Badass is a Lit Path Studios podcast and is produced by Jamie Gale and Alecia Jacobson. Music by Shane Ivers. We'll be back with another inspiring interview. Until then, keep your spirits high and your energy badass.